Evening, guys. I was wanting to show you my Book of Shadows tonight. Just a journal I got from Walmart. It's like 10, 12 bucks, something like that. I put the pentagram on there with silver Sharpie and then some of those little stick-on jewel things that you can get from like the scrapbook section, which I promise you these are actually green. They just don't look very green. The first page here, I printed this out from the internet because I liked the image and I just colored it in. The big stain here is an oil. When I did my book dedication, I had took the oil on my finger and drew a pentagram. I didn't realize the oil was going to spread to the extent that it did. I thought there'd be a small stain, yeah, but I didn't realize it was going to be that huge. Another image that I had printed out and colored in. That's my dedication for the book. That was my self-dedication. An image of Artemis. When I first started following the path, I was called to work with her. But the last year or so, I've heard nothing from her. I've been called to work with Persephone. So I've been trying to figure out and learn what I can about her to work with her. This is my version of knot magic or cord magic. Instead of tying, 12 knots or 13 knots or 9 knots or whatever it is for whatever I need to do, I make it look like a friendship bracelet. Because if it's something I'm going to be wearing, I want it to actually look somewhat like a piece of jewelry. So when I tie the knots that are here, can you see those? I don't know if you can see those very well. I will tie those however many times, the 9 or the 13 or whatever. And then I took pictures of each step to make the bracelet or rope or however it is I'm going to be doing it. This is a ritual I did, a party ritual I did for me and my sister. She was moving away, and I just kind of wanted something for, just protection for her to be watched over and know that we kind of knew that someday she'd be coming back to live with me. That may be something I may explain at some point later, the story behind that. It's just a full moon thing that I did one night, just laying out with a blanket on the full moon. It's an apple spell that somebody had told me about. That I did, and I tried to draw the apple because I had no pictures of apples, especially with the seeds in the middle. I'm not really an artist, but I did my best. This was a spirit site thing, something that my sister wanted to create to see if it would help people. My sister sees spirits very clearly. I see them occasionally. And she had a few people that don't necessarily believe that she can see them, and they can't usually see themselves, so she was hoping that this would help. These are my herbal baths. I have a kind of a section. I have them labeled up here in the corners for the pages, so I don't use those pages for anything else. That is actually a exorcism bath salt that I had made recently, and I'm not really going to get into the story behind that at the moment. I may explain it at some point. Ostara ritual I did a few years ago. This is a poem I found on the internet that I thought was really nice. I just glued it in here with a picture. I have the invoking and vanishing of the pentagram. This is something that I made called the wish box. And if anybody wants to know any more about that, I'll explain at some point. More quotes. This was a guidance prayer that I wrote. I found this thing on the internet called Who is the Goddess, and from what I could find, I didn't know who wrote it, but I did like the narrator one color, a child's voice another color, and then the voices of the maiden, mother, goddess all in a different color there. That's just Beltane, the ritual that I did. This is a image of Persephone and Hades that I found on the internet and liked, and I just glued it on some scrapbook paper. this is my oil section, and these are all oils that I've made. And again, like I said, I like to take the pictures of things that I do, so I have them. And then, just like with the bath salts, I do have pages marked away for those, so that way they're sectioned off. My crystal grid page, and I actually added a couple little quartz up here. It's really a real great grid that I've done so far, just because every time I put it up, I try to put this up, I have my cats knocking it over. I've got to find a place to put them that my cats can't get to. Watercolor from something else I did kind of seep through the pages, but that'll all get covered. This goes with that salt that I said that I may explain later. This is the last page that I've worked on, and kind of the page that I'm most proud of. I took, you know, that brown paper, like if you go somewhere like a Goodwill or somewhere that they wrap your breakables in. I just kind of glued that in there, and it made it kind of like it stuck out a little bit, and then I just colored watercolor over it. This is a feather my brother just randomly found and gave to me, and I was picking it up and holding it the other day, and I was like, what? Besides the fact that it represents air, I'm wondering what the properties of feathers are. So I looked it up, and then I wrote down all the stuff that the feathers are good for in different colors, and then it had said that, you know, depending on the bird the feather comes from, that can depend on the properties of the feather. So I made this little booklet in here, because there was no way on this page I was going to be able to fit every single property for every bird. So I printed out the picture of the bird and the name, so I have a page to put down the properties for each bird as the list that I found. And then I have some blank pages just in case I find any more birds or I find feathers and figure out the properties on my own. And then they said colors also have different properties, so I did pages for basically the most of the colors of the feathers. I still have to write that information in here. But originally the book was going to be a piece that was going to slide out of like a little envelope. When I sized the envelope, it fit fine, but then when I glued it down, the book wouldn't go in. So I had to pull the envelope up off the page, and I just decided to glue the booklet down onto just directly on the page itself. So that's the last page that I have in here now. The rest of this is blank. But in the back, I do have some more images and things that I've printed out. Let me move these papers here. Sorry, I'm doing this one-handed from my tablet because the battery on my camera is just about dead. But yeah, I just reserve these pages for images and things I find that I wanted to put in. This actually came off an incense box, and I just like the picture, so I may use it somewhere. I'll glue that in eventually. This was a fortune from a fortune cookie, and I just thought it would be good because it says your wisdom will find a way, because I know that's kind of fuzzy, I'm sorry. And I figured this would be good if I ever do any sort of knowledge or wisdom spell that I could add to the page as decoration. That's just a piece of cardstock that I used on part of another spell. I just left that in there so I can use it again. Another image of Persephone. This half is supposed to be the half of her that's up here during the spring and summertime. The other half is the half that's supposed to be with Hades. I burnt that half with a lighter. It's another picture. It's supposed to be Persephone falling. It was her falling down the hole to Hades. And this I printed out, and then I did the back in watercolor. And then I colored in the rest with color pencil. I need to go over some spots on that. And then the other thing is I have flowers pressed in the back that I can add to pages with the spells and stuff if I want to. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the Book of Shadows, really. But I've been thinking, I feel like I don't have enough room on the pages of this one to do what I want to do a lot. And then, of course, once I run out of space on those sections for like the oils and the salt, I'm going to have to, sorry, my little booklet thing's sticking out. I'm I will have to go and do like a part 2 section or something. So I thought about converting this into a Book of Shadows. It's just a scrapbook, and it's one of those ones where it's got the screws so you can make it bigger. I got this. It came in a scrapbook kit that was normally like almost $20, but it was on a clearance thing, so I got it for like $2. And my big problem with it, as far as you know, actually as a scrapbook, is it only has like 10 pages in here. And I cannot find refill pages for the size. It's 8.5 by 8.5. And I've looked at Walmart, I've looked at Joann Fabric, I've looked at Hobby Lobby, and I've gotten online, and I cannot find pages that will fit this. And there's only like 10 in here. So I